We are back with Papageno and his world. Last time, Pamina and Papageno were chased by Monostatos, and Zarastro the king finally made his appearance. Buckle in, because this one's going to be a long one, and things are really going to start to get interesting. When Zarastro appeared, the princess was afraid that he would be mad at her, so she knelt down and said she was so sorry for running away. Zarastro said that for now she wasn't allowed to meet the prince. Then Pamina asked why she wasn't allowed to go and see her mother, the Queen of the Night. She said, "You're my dad. Why can't you listen to me?" This made Zarastro very mad, and he said that it was because the Queen of the Night was too stuck up. Suddenly, Monostatos jumped out of the crowd, and there was Prince Tamino too. Monostatos shouted at Prince Tamino that he should kneel to Zarastro. Princess Pamina was so excited to see the prince. Finally, she got to meet him. She would be able to hold him in her arms. The prince and princess rushed toward each other, but Monostatos got between them. He told Zarastro that he should be rewarded for stopping Pamina from escaping. But Zarastro was mad. He told the guards to take Monostatos away and put him in jail for scaring the princess. Zarastro said that Prince Tamino and Papageno had to take some tests before he would allow them to talk to the princess. So the guards put bags over Prince Tamino and Papageno's heads and took them inside the secret building. Zarastro explained the tests. One was a fire test and one was a water test. If they passed, they could be in the secret club, and Tamino would be able to marry Princess Pamina. Then Zarastro prayed to his gods to ask them to protect Tamino and Pamina. Prince Tamino and Papageno started their test, and there was so much thunder that it made Papageno very upset. He couldn't understand why he had to go through all of this nonsense when he just wanted to sit at home with a nice dinner. Zarastro's servants asked Papageno if he wanted to discover the truth. "No," said Papageno, "I just want to maybe someday have a little wife that I can come home to after catching my birds." "Well," said the man in the pointy hat, "if you pass the test, you might just get your wish." "Is there going to be thunder?" said Papageno. "Yep," said the man. "Then I will stay single," said Papageno. The men told Papageno and Tamino that the first part of the test was that they had to play the quiet game. They were not allowed to talk to Pamina, and they were not allowed to talk to any girls at all, no matter what they said. Papageno wasn't sure about how that was going to go. Also, he didn't think that was very nice. Suddenly, the three ladies appeared out of nowhere, and they were yelling at Papageno. They kept saying that he was going to die, which scared him. So he tried to ask them why, but then Prince Tamino yelled at him for talking to girls. Papageno was upset. The three ladies tried to tell the prince that Zarastro was untrustworthy, but Prince Tamino wouldn't listen, so the three ladies left. Papageno and Tamino passed the first test of silence. Now they could do the next test. Meanwhile, Pamina was stuck at the palace. While she was sleeping, Monostatos snuck into her room. He was mad, and he figured that since no one was around, he could do whatever he wanted. So he decided to try to kiss her, even though he knew that she didn't like him. But before he could get to her, there was thunder, and the Queen of the Night appeared in Pamina's room. Pamina woke up, and she was so excited to see her mom. The Queen of the Night said, "Where is that nice boy I sent to rescue you?" Pamina told her that he had decided to join Zarastro, and she went along with it because she loved him. This made the queen super angry, so she started to yell at Pamina. She pulled out a huge knife and told Pamina that she wanted her to use the knife to kill Zarastro. She said, "If you don't do this, you don't love me." And that made Pamina really sad. queen disappeared, Pamina was so upset. Monostatos jumped out from where he was hiding, and he snatched the knife away from her. He said, "If you promise to love me, I will save you from the king, and I won't tell him that you tried to kill him." When Princess Pamina said no, Monostatos got very angry, and he tried to kill her with the knife. But then the king appeared just in time, and he saved her from Monostatos. Princess Pamina asked Zarastro to please be nice to the queen and not punish her for trying to kill him. But Zarastro just said that he would take revenge on the queen in his own way. Prince Tamino was just about to get started on his next test. The men in the pointy hat reminded him to be silent and not talk, but Papageno just kept talking, and that made the prince irritated. Then an old woman appeared and gave Papageno a drink of water. Papageno was super confused, but after talking to her, he promised to not talk anymore. The three boys appeared then, and they brought the magic flute and bells back to Papageno and Tamino. They also brought some lunch and told Papageno to be quiet. Papageno ate some food while Prince Tamino just played the flute. Then Pamina ran up. She was so excited to see Tamino, but he wouldn't talk to her. When she asked him if he loved her, he just turned away. Then when she asked Papageno what was wrong, he put his hat over his face. Princess Pamina wanted to cry. Why was everyone being so mean? Since no one would talk to her, Princess Pamina ran away. Papageno said, "See, I told you I could be quiet." Tamino was mad, so he decided to go sit somewhere else. Then a bear came and scared Papageno. Papageno ran so far away that he got lost. The men in the pointy hat appeared and then started yelling at Papageno just for eating lunch. Papageno decided he wanted some food and a nice wife to keep him company, and that wasn't such a big thing to ask. While he was sitting there complaining, the old lady appeared again, and she asked if Papageno would promise to marry her. He thought she was joking, so he said, "Sure, I'll marry you. I promise." Magically, when he said this, she turned into a beautiful young lady who was wearing clothes just like his. Her name was Papagena. Papageno was so happy to see her. It was a wife. But then the men in the pointy hats whisked her away. "No," they said, "you don't deserve a wife yet." In the meantime, Prince Tamino was trying to figure out how to pass the rest of his tests. Finally, the guards came to tell him that it was time for him to talk to Pamina again. She could even take the tests with him since Papageno was lost. Pamino and Tamino were so happy to see each other. Pamina reminded him that the magic flute would help them in the tests. The magic flute protects them from the fire. Then the magic flute protected them from the water. They passed both of the tests. But Papageno was still lost. Today had been the worst day of his whole life. He was looking and looking for Papagena, but he couldn't find her anywhere, and he was getting really frustrated. He was ready to give up on everything because he was so upset and so tired. He said, "If I can't find her by the time I count to 3, then I'll just give up." But nothing happened. He was so sad. Suddenly, the 3 boys appeared. They said, "Don't give up, Papageno. Play your bells, silly." Papageno had forgotten the bells. He started to play them. Maybe they would bring him Papagena. So he played and played the bells, and suddenly there was Papagena. She was so excited to see him. She said that she would stay with him forever, and maybe they would have lots of children that would be named Papageno and Papagena. They are going to live happily ever after. But not everything is all happy elsewhere. Monostatos decided to join the Queen of the Night. Monostos, the three ladies, and the queen all began to sneak around the kingdom in the night because they wanted to kill King Zarastro. They were hoping that they would be able to rule the kingdom forever. The queen started to gather her magic powers, and everyone was waiting. But then Zarastro's magic overcame hers. Zarastro made the Queen of the Night, the three ladies, and Monostatos all disappear in thunder and earthquakes. After the Queen of the Night had disappeared forever, the sun came out and Zarastro was the king of the whole kingdom. Everything belonged to him again, and he was happy. The Queen of the Night was never seen again, and everyone was so pleased that they decided to sing a song to celebrate Zarastro. Princess Pamina and Prince Tamino got married, and they joined Zarastro in ruling the kingdom. Papageno and Papageno lived happily ever after, and they teach all of their children to be nice to the birds and never to talk to princes. Thank you so much for joining me in the final installment of Papageno's Bad Day. I hope you learned a little bit about the opera, and I hope that you will sit down someday and watch the whole thing. Let me know what you think.